for myself and my family. There's no way that this is real, man, it can't be.
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Modify Your Life podcast, where I'm your host, Anthony Lopez, also known as Heavy to Modified. And welcome to Modify Your Life podcast, where we just do cool things that modify your life. I've still yet to get a slogan for this podcast, but we got my man, my right-hand man.
What's up, bro?
My confidant. Is it confidant? Confidant?
I don't know. I've never understood that term.
I
really don't know.
We also have, I think one of the flyest backgrounds.
Pretty sick, right?
I mean, nothing's better than having like a $300,000 car behind us, right? I feel like this brings up the value to my podcast.
There you go. If you're not subscribed, you do it now.
Right now's the time, because we are upping the game right now.
Yeah.
We are up. I don't know if there's another podcast that has a Lamborghini in the background, but now this is our background for today.
Nah, I feel you,
We
man.
just shoot a whole bunch of podcasts here and act like it's just our whole little setup now.
At this point, any other podcast is completely irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
Now that we got Daniel Sanchez on.
I was talking about the car,
Oh,
but
okay.
we could say me.
All right, cool. Well, also, if you guys don't know, and you guys are going to find out very soon, because it's probably a very long podcast, who Daniel Sanchez is. Yeah, it's long overdue.
Yeah.
We talked about doing this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I talked about this in one of my vlogs. I was like, me and my boy talked about doing a podcast. Like, it needs to get done, and I had to get this done. So we're doing it. Daniel Sanchez.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Modify Your Life podcast, brother.
I'm excited. I'm excited that you're doing this.
Man.
And I'm honored to be on.
First off, let them know who you are. Let them know where we're at and what you do.
It's crazy because we talked about doing this podcast, but now that you got me on the spot, I don't know how to do this. So I'm going to figure it out with you guys. My name is Daniel Sanchez. I'm 34 years old. We are at Premium AutoStyling headquarters here in Riverside, California. This is my shop. This is my business. This is my fourth child. I have 3 real babies, and then I got Premium. So this is my 4th child here.
Wait, hold on. What about me? I thought I was adopted a long time ago. Did you just forget about me like that?
No, you at this. Okay, son.
Okay.
You want to be son? Let's go be son.
Thanks, Papa.
This is where I hang out when I'm not with my kids. This is when I hang out when I'm not with my girl. I'm at Premium. Premium AutoStyling is a vehicle wrap shop. We've been in business since 2008. It's a business that I started in my garage, and we've grown into, at this point now, in 2020, what are we, 2023?
We're in 2023.
We're a multi-million-dollar company, so it's been an awesome thing to be a part of. I've got to experience it from within, meaning I started the business, worked every position from customer service, sales, to vehicle wraps, to learning how to, acquire reviews, to all the basic stuff alongside of wrapping cars. I can't forget that. That was the main trade here, was wrapping vehicles, customizing them. And then from there, I evolved myself out of the company, and I brought people on that were more skilled and more talented than I was. And I really just got to kind of see the business from the outside. And I think that's where I'm most valuable at. Like when you're building a company. Exactly. Yeah. It's like watching that business and watching everything we've done, seeing it grow, but putting people in position that were far more skilled than I was. You know?
A real leader. You build people to be better than you.
Right. And it was really developing out the leadership position.
And yeah, I watched it. So before we even get into how we met, so you started this off in your mom's garage, your parents' garage.
Yeah.
Right? And you were doing something what at the time someone would consider to be way bigger.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you completely modified your life and followed your dream, right?
100%.
Of what you're probably gonna tell the story, but I'm gonna kind of, plant the seed. As someone once told you, you're never gonna be successful putting stickers on a car.
100%, man.
Right?
You're one of the few people that know that. I mean, I have talked about it on some podcasts. So I guess people do know about it, but like I really expressed it to you because it was something that scarred me. And I think that anybody who's grown from situations have those wounds in business, in your life journey. There's these wounds that you carry with you. And that was the one thing that somebody said to me, and I was like, damn, I'm gonna prove this motherfucker wrong. Can I cuss on your podcast?
Yeah, you can do what you want.
I'm gonna prove this motherfucker wrong. Like, I'm not gonna let him tell me that putting stickers on a car was like irrelevant, not something that was gonna bring success into my life. Right now we are sitting here with a $400,000 Lambo, a $600,000 Rolls Royce, $100,000 Raptor over there, another $100,000 Raptor over there. The list goes on.
It goes on.
I was told, at my 9-to-5 job, when I was expressing to some of the guys that I was working with, he's like, "You're never gonna make money putting stickers on cars. What are you thinking? You're gonna have to stay here. You have to hang out with us."
And I really want to dive into who you were working with, what you were doing, and what you left to follow your dream.
Got it. So, rewind a little bit. In high school, I wasn't doing so well. I hate to say this because my parents are probably going to watch this, but I was doing drugs. I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing.
I'm pretty sure they knew, Daniel.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
everybody knew.
Okay.
I was on the wrong path, and this is at 16, 17 years old. I dropped out of high school at 17, and I never went back. And I think I was a sophomore. So dropped out, and I started my first job. And what that was, it was an amazing opportunity. But I got to work for Travis Barker. Travis Barker owned a clothing brand at the time called Famous Stars and Straps. Very, very cool. Like, at that time, even till this day,
that was it.
Yeah, that was the thing.
You had to have Famous Stars straps on when we were growing up, or you were not the cool kid. And those big ass Osiris's.
Oh yeah.
And that, like, those are like the two things I remember the most of.
So I had the opportunity to be a part of that company from the early stages. I started in the warehouse and I stuck it out. I was with Travis for I think about 8 years. And during that time frame, my job went from warehouse work into sales and then ultimately into marketing, where I landed and where the most fun and opportunity was for me, and also the most, I'd say, most valuable time in my life, because I got to see things that normal people don't get access to. When you get a shadow and be alongside of a celebrity like that, it's amazing what it can do for you, because what it can do for some people. The reason why I say that is some people will take it as, look where I'm at, look what I'm doing, this is the best thing ever. I'm getting to hang out with a celebrity. But for me, I was looking at it through a different set of eyes. I was looking at it from, this man came from the same neighborhood I did, and he's a multimillionaire now. He owns a clothing brand. He plays in a band, one of the most famous bands on the planet, Blink-182.
Yeah.
But this guy came from the same neighborhood as me, and I'm hanging out with him, on a friendship level, also as a mentor. I got to be mentored by him. And it was just, I got to see it from a different lens. I saw the potential that we all have, and he had, and he saw in himself, and ultimately developed out his own company. So I got to be a part of those stages, and just, it did something to me. It definitely did something to me to be there and see the things that I was able to be brought into.
Yeah, and the position that he put you into, and all the traveling, all the seeing the rich and famous, and partying and all the other stuff. That's because there's fun stuff with it.
Yeah,
right?
no, 100%. It was a fun job.
What Daniel said, something that is something I feel a lot of people might look past that you just said, that I want to reiterate on that. He was looking at it. He was looking at it from the eyes of, this guy came from where I came from. Right. He was grew up on the same street or whatever street, city, whatever it might be, right? But he was tangible to you. You knew him. You were friends with his cousin, I believe, right?
His nephew.
Yeah. Rest in peace, right? He passed away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Brant Barker.
So you looked at it a bigger vision than just you're working for or for one of the most famous rock stars in the world, right? You looked at it as a bigger thing, as like something that you could do.
Right.
But obviously your goal was that you did play drums, though. You did.
I did.
You're really good at drums.
If you say that. I played in bands as well. In high school, I played in bands. I was always inspired by Travis. So one of the things that I believe, I don't want to say, I really don't know how to explain this part of me, but I do believe that I've always been able to put myself around the right people. Let's see if I can repeat that in case we need to. I believe I've always been able to put myself around the right people. And in this case, is prior to really starting to hang out with Travis, I was already playing music and I knew where I wanted to go at that time. I wanted to be a rock star, you know? And I'm like, okay, how do I get access to a rock star? You know, and then eventually it ended up happening. It just definitely
you
called
envisioned
it in.
You envisioned your success. You planted your seed, right?
Yeah. So I got full access to that world. And ultimately I didn't become a rock star in that world, but I think I did in a different way.
Exactly. Moving forward into where you left. And then, obviously you got to work for that amazing guy, amazing company, have some fun. But you left that to follow your dream, right? To become your own rock star, right? To become your own success story from your city, right? Which I feel that you've accomplished that, from how I met you. I met you from you helping one of my buddies out with the worst car rap ever. Yeah. So now you're 300,000 on YouTube? Yeah. Successful rap company, putting stickers on cars. Right. We just got done working with Travis Barker.
Yeah. Still to this day, we just did a vehicle for his wife, who is Kourtney Kardashian now. So amazing opportunity, and one of the things that I believe is, a lot of people create relationships over time. So I just want to mention this here, is I feel like relationships are one of the most important things that you can do. And not in a malicious way. It's like, take care of the people who took care of you. Facts. You know what I mean? And I worked for Travis for a long time. He took care of me. I got to learn a lot. I was molded. I was groomed. I was bred into this world, Yeah. And ultimately it paid off, because years later, I don't work for him anymore. This is now almost, I'd say, almost 10 years later. It is 10 years later. He's still reaching out to me, and I'm still wrapping his cars. I'm wrapping his wife's vehicle. And
what I told you earlier, you don't work with him. Or we don't work for him, you work
Right.
with him.
Absolutely.
And we're moving to where me and this guy met.
Yeah.
This is my best friend. I'm about to be his best man in his wedding.
Yeah.
He moved his whole wedding for me.
for you, bro.
For me to do the body show, he moved his wedding was the day before or day after the bodybuilding show on October 19th, Summer Shreds this year. And he moved it for me because he knew how important this was. And that's crazy. I was nervous. I was real nervous. But moving into, we'll talk about Jefe, right? If anyone out there is listening, doesn't know who Jefe is heavy to modified because that is who met Daniel at first.
Right.
And then I evolved into what I am today. But you met Jefe. You
Right.
met YouTube, Camaro.
Yeah.
500, moving on his way to 600-pound Jefe. And like, what did you think when you first met me?
You know what, man? It's a hard one because we've talked about it. You and I hit it off from the beginning. You know, we hit it off from day one.
When no one could understand.
Yeah.
We had some haters, bro. We had some
100%.
haters. We'll talk about that too.
You know, so he mentions that he was 600 pounds at the time. I never saw
I was like
that.
500, like
500 pounds.
485.
I never saw that, bro. You know, I always tell you, like, I kind of looked past that because of who you were. You know, the way your presentation was, how you managed everything around you. Like, you were just a stand-up guy, you know, from the beginning, from day one. So weight was never like on my mind. You know, I didn't even realize he was big until people started saying it. You know, we were putting up YouTube videos and they were like, who's the fat guy? And I'm like, what fat guy? You talking about me? Like, I was all self-conscious. And then I'm like, wait.
Talking about Jefe.
You're talking about him.
The internet don't joke. They don't play.
Right.
They do not hold back on anything.
You know that.
It is. You know, and
that.
it's so crazy you bring that up that you just didn't pay attention to my size. Because, you know, my brother said the same thing. It's like, you weren't my fat brother. You were my brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? But obviously, you know, I had a weight problem, but I didn't let anyone know about that. But yeah, there came a point of being on Premium AutoStyling vlogs where because we were putting out 7 days a week, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
I stopped wanting to be around, right? And like, did you notice? And I'm not talking about before my grandpa passed away. Did you notice a difference in me not wanting to be on the YouTube channel before that all happened, or did you not notice it until you like kind of look back and like, oh shit?
I think it was more of like looking back. I kind of recognized maybe some of the insecurities you had.
Yeah.
You know, we've talked about it before, but going to the restaurants,
Yeah,
you would
we
always
talked
get in the
about
car,
that.
always want to drive. And he would never say like, oh, let me drive my car so I can take you guys with me. It was, let me drive my car no matter what, because he wasn't getting in anybody else's car.
Exactly.
You know, because his car was set up for you.
It was my car, yeah. And, you know, reiterating on that is, you know, I love having Daniel here because he was here through the whole process from the start to the weight loss until present day.
Yeah.
So any of these stories that I'm saying that people might always just bringing that up to sound like it's cool or it's gonna make a good story. And like, no, this shit is real.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I drove everywhere and I got to places before and he didn't realize it until now we fast forward where I'm at today. That yeah, I would leave 15, 20 minutes before everyone to get there, make sure we did get a booth. So we would get a table, not a booth, because I couldn't fit in booths, and that's
You know the other
embarrassing.
thing I remember, and I don't know if we've ever talked about
I think I know what
this.
you're gonna bring up.
The seatbelt?
No,
the seatbelt, bro. You'd get in his car.
I
He drove a Jeep at
apologize.
the time.
I apologize.
We'd get into this Jeep. We'd be having a conversation. You know, we get deep all the time. But I would just hear bing, ding, ding, ding the whole time. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, what is that noise? I'm checking my seatbelt. I'm looking around like, and it was your seatbelt because you couldn't wear a seatbelt.
No, I got to the point where like, bro, I could click it in, but like I was literally had more chance of dying with the
Listen,
seatbelt
bro,
on than without it.
Don't front. You could not get
I
that
couldn't.
seatbelt on.
No, I couldn't. No, it would fit on, right? It would fit on, but it was like literally more painful than probably me just getting a car accident without a seatbelt.
Right.
It was like because like one time like I like jerked forward, I had a seatbelt on, and it's like left like a crazy little burn on my neck because it was so big. Like I literally should have had an extender, but my ego, my pride would not, right? I don't need extender. I'm not that big.
Right.
Come on, I was in denial. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I apologize for that because, you know, I couldn't click the seatbelt and it was really uncomfortable for me. So when they ride with me, like the ding became a normal thing. It wasn't even like, what is it anymore?
You
had to block it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, you know, your boy was big. I was 500 moving on to 600 pounds, you know, getting into it. And I want to, you know, I feel like a lot of people have like a false pretext of like all overweight people. Right. Because we talked about this before, how I feel I get more respect now, especially when I was filming for you and working beside you and, you know, became like basically your assistant. I feel like when the weight loss came, I got more respect, but my work ethic at 400, 500,
which I
600
speak,
pounds.
You know, I can speak on your work ethic
straight
up, you know, and but one of the biggest attributes to where you're at today is because of the work ethic that you carried yesterday, last week, last year, and the past 10 years, and probably your entire work career. You know, no matter how big you were, you never were a slacker. You know, you always carried your weight, literally. You know what I mean? But he literally, I never recognized him as a big man because this is the same guy that was, at the time, he was a filmer for me. So he's walking around carrying a camera, which, Anybody, any size, carrying a camera around for 6-7 hours a day is not easy.
It's just
Then
in
going
SEMA.
to a car show like SEMA in Las Vegas, where there's thousands of people, and the walkways are like this.
And we had the Ronin MX. I'm not sure if any filmers out there know what a Ronin MX. That thing was like 15 pounds with 6 batteries.
This guy would follow me around all day, chasing me around, and I do remember seeing you sweat.
I was drenched.
He was drenched. Shirt was drenched. I mean, but you never complained.
No,
never
man.
said a thing.
I never wanted to let my weight become like a way to have an excuse.
Yeah.
Like I always felt like I'm already overweight. People are already judging me. And I know people are judging me. When people looked at me showing up with you, they probably were like, why this guy? You know what I mean? Which we had some people like, this guy's, why you bring this guy around? This guy's going to bring
we've talked about it.
Yeah.
We've had those awkward conversations where things happen and I would check people. I'm like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Like, yeah, because they would just assume that I'm lazy because I was overweight. And I feel that just because you're overweight doesn't mean you're lazy. Now, it means you have something to work on, right? We have something to work on. We have an eating problem or, we don't know nutrition or whatever the situation might be. But not every overweight person is lazy. You know what I mean? Maybe lazy when it comes to like their eating choices and making better decisions. Like we could give them that, but not every. That's why I don't watch My 600-Pound Life. Like I hate that. I feel like people watch that show and they automatically just look at someone overweight and be like, oh, they don't even care. They don't even shower themselves.
Right.
Because I never smelled.
Nah.
Like I
will honestly sit here and say that on camera, dude, because you're a big person. A lot of times the general assumption is gonna be like, oh man, that dude's probably sweating and stinky, Always smelled good hygiene, so I was never affected by anything he was doing around us. He was another homie around the shop, So I always commend you for that. And we've always talked about it, I think that, again, all that stuff you were doing, the way you carried yourself then has only made you a better man as a fit person like you are now.
Yeah, 100%. And also, it's crazy because I'm hearing you talk about your story working with Travis and becoming own this rap shop, a successful rap shop. And it's cool because everything that Travis did for you and what he showed you, you introduced to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you took me around all these big influencers and YouTubers, and you took me to these meetings. You told me a lot about business. You showed me the insides. You showed me what to do. You showed me what not to do. You showed me a lot of different 100%. Things I got to learn from you, which now I have a filmer. And like, it's so cool. Like, I feel like I really made someone who took a lot of time and energy into me, because a lot of people were so annoyed that you picked the lot time and energy to give to me.
Right.
Some people were definitely not happy with that one, but you've seen something in me. You've seen the fight in me.
Right.
Right. And so fast forward now, your boy's driving down from Vegas to do a traveling podcast with a filmer. Like, my filmer is going to film for you because you got some amazing stuff happening. Yeah. And it's so cool. And I just want to say thank you because, you know what I mean? Because I got to learn a lot. And I feel like these last podcasts always go into having that tribe, right? Yeah. I was in a circle hanging out with Daniel. And I hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, but I was in a circle. Daniel introduced me to a circle, let me be in a circle. I feel like I didn't earn my way in yet. You know what I mean? I feel like I was just your boy. You know what I mean? I was Hefe. I was your boy. I was your filmer. But everything that I got to sit in, everything I got to learn, everything I got to listen to and watch Daniel, how he runs his business, grows his business, good days, bad days type of stuff. I feel like I know it helped me now to where I feel like I sit at a table with you.
Right.
Right.
But
I earned
what that
spot.
goes to, though, is the same thing I was talking about when I worked for Travis, the lens that you were looking through. I think a lot of people fail to recognize that is sometimes you get put into environments that are great for you. They may be hard. They may be tough. The person that you're working next to may be a hard ass. Yeah. I was to you. Yeah. Travis Barker was to me. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I never took it as, oh my God, like I hate my job. I hate what I'm doing. I don't ever want to do this again. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm not going to give my full energy to this. I'm not going to commit. It was never that. And it was never that for you. And because we carry ourselves that way, we're able to take all of the lessons and all of the everything all the way from the bottom to the top.
We become a lot stronger.
100%.
Yeah, Daniel was a hard ass on me. And how I am with the people in my business and in my company and, my filmer. Now, I got to learn, like, okay, this may be a little too much, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I had to go through that, right? Yeah. So, once again, if I didn't go through that, then I wouldn't be able to be who I am today, right? So, I had to get the shitty end of the stick for it. But guess what? Look what I turned out to be. I have a best friend because of it. You got to teach me so much from it. I got to be introduced and shake so many hands with, so many amazing freaking people, influencers, just the average people, successful people. I got to listen to conversations and sit down with these, millionaires and see how they think, and I envision myself there. Right. Now, I never thought it would be weight loss. I never thought I would be motivating people around the world to lose weight, to better their self and their health.
That's the most craziest thing about this entire thing You know, is at one point you were the big guy that was probably looked at the most unhealthy person in the room.
100%.
Almost everywhere we went.
Yes.
And now you're sitting in a room where you're the healthiest person here.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Thank you for that. Hey, do you remember? You want to know something? Talking about something that will always like strike your ego.
Yeah.
Or no, wrongfully striking my ego.
okay. Mine or yours?
No,
Because I don't need that right now.
no, you know, like the one of the most embarrassing moments for me, and it's because I hold you so high, right? Because you really took a lot of time with me and taught me a lot. Is when we're at the Subway, at the sub place.
Oh, man.
And we're sitting down, we're eating. So we're at the sub place. Let me paint a picture for you. I'm sitting with two people that I respect, right? Especially Daniel's right here, being one of them. And we're talking, we're having a normal conversation. I'm roughly around 600 pounds right now, maybe a little lighter. Was it before or after my grandpa?
I think this is after your grandpa.
Okay, so I was over 600 pounds for sure,
yeah.
right? I'm sitting on a decent sized wood chair. That's normal sized wood chair, no problem at all. And we're in the middle of a conversation. We're laughing, whatever it might be. And the owner comes up to me with a chair in his hand, and he looks at me. He's like, here's, I'll get up so I can give you 2 chairs so you look uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he wasn't just sliding the chair over, like, here, use the chair. He was forcing it all in. And I'm like, no, I'm good. He's like, no. He's like, no, you need to stand up. You look uncomfortable. Here, you're big. Here's a chair.
Yeah.
Bro, I've never felt, did you notice like
I
my
knew.
demeanor
I mean, we
change?
all
Like,
did
yeah,
though. Like all of us did. So much so that was one of my favorite sandwich spots, and I never went back.
Bro, I still went back. I didn't care. I love that sandwich, but your boy,
I didn't. You know,
you were pissed. You were really. You were more mad than
you know,
me.
it was
I
more
was
like
embarrassed.
It wasn't even about what he did. It was the way he did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's an approach to everything, and that was just totally off. Whether his intentions were wrong or not, it was. His behavior was improper.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That
because
made me like. So
we were having a great business conversation, and then
Yeah.
somebody comes up and tries to forcefully throw a chair at you and say it the way he did. I was like, "Fuck this dude."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So when I went home that day, I didn't tell Francine. I didn't tell Francine that at all. I didn't tell anyone that. That's the first time even talking about the story.
Yeah.
Because that really like hurt me. Because I'm like,
Yep.
when I was driving home, because Lord knows driving for Riverside, Orange County, traffic,
not a short drive.
It's not a short drive. And I was just driving home and like had no music on because I think I left like about 30, 40 minutes after we had that lunch. Or I was already heading out, and I was in traffic. And I was thinking like, damn, like, do people really look at me that way?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Do people really look at me sitting down and think I need 2 of everything? Like, you know what I mean? Because, and then like when I'm driving back, I'm thinking of everything. Like every time I sit down and my drink's about halfway done, I already have another drink served by me. And I'm like, damn, like people like, am I that big? And that's when I feel like that's when things for me got bad mentally.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because like that was like, I don't know why that's one of the things that stand up the most. I don't think anyone ever actually come up to me.
Yeah.
And disrespect me without meaning to disrespect me. Because what he was doing, I feel a comparison to holding a door open for someone that's handicapped.
Right.
Right. He was genuinely trying to be nice. He was
And put it into context, he's a 70-year-old man.
70-year-old man,
very
yeah.
old man. Very old school mentality. I don't think he meant to be disrespectful,
vicious.
but it was highly disrespectful.
Yeah.
The approach.
That really like messed me up because I felt so embarrassed. Like I was even embarrassed to come to work the next day because of the people that were at the table.
Yeah.
And I was just like, damn, like, and I was thinking like, you look at me that way. Like every time I would
Yeah.
be around people now, I'm like thinking like, oh man, like, you know what I mean? And it took a little while before I started the journey because we had one more conversation, and we had a conversation about at Del Taco because at that time you were worried about my health.
Yeah.
That's after my grandpa passed away.
Yeah.
I was in a bad place. We all know that I was in a very bad place, and we haven't even talked about on this podcast yet because I still can't even talk about it. It still gets me kind of worked up, but I'll say for sure that I was in a very bad place, and I think you started noticing.
He was in a bad place.
Yeah.
Just
It was
that
bad.
You were in a bad place.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
Yeah.
So, what was like the main thing that you noticed that you wanted to have that conversation with me at Del Taco while we were messing up some food? We were definitely at Del Taco eating some food.
We were. It was early in the morning. We got
I
up to go
scratched
to
my
a car
rim
show.
that morning.
What's that?
I scratched my rim
Oh
that
yeah,
morning. I was
that's
so
right.
pissed.
We both brought our cars out. I remember we were parking. Everything was going wrong that day, and I think that I remember also sitting at that Del Taco, and there was an older lady there, and she's throwing us looks. I think about the amount of food that we had on the table, and a lot of it was mine. I'm an eater, and I think she was just assuming it was yours because he was the bigger dude,
yeah.
and I felt uncomfortable for you and just the whole situation. And I think we just opened up and we had a real deep conversation about your health.
Yeah,
from a friend's perspective, not you working for me. It was just a genuine friend's perspective. I was like, man, you got to get this right. Have you thought about maybe doing a surgery or what options do we have for you?
Yeah. So paint him a story real quick, because this is probably going to be this was probably the biggest shocker for everyone, especially you. I left Premium. My grandpa had 6 months to live. Daniel, he fired me, but he fired me as in, bro, you need to be with your family. Don't worry about videos. You didn't even post content for a very long time because of that.
Yeah,
that's
no,
love.
I handicapped my business.
That he handicapped his business for my basically future well-being, because I don't think I would be able to live with myself if I didn't do what I did for my grandpa, because I'm a family person.
Right.
But paint this picture. I was gone from Premium for about 9 months, no longer than 10, 11 months, we'll say.
Yeah.
But for sure 9 months. I came back 100 pounds heavier from the last time you see me overweight. What was that like, seeing me for the first time since everything had happened? Because that was a noticeable
video of that day. We were just looking at the photo. Do you remember in the shop? You showed up. You were in the black shirt. And it was an exposed video. We basically called it an exposed video because he had been gone for so long. And people are, when you're on YouTube, you know, and I'll say this, if you guys are familiar with the way YouTube works, when someone leaves the channel for X amount of time, everybody assumes it's because there was a problem. They, you know, so a lot of people were saying, what happened between you and Hefe? Everybody at the time knew him as Hefe before Heavy to Modified. And we were catching a lot of flack because people loved him, you know, but at the same time, they were like, what happened to this dude? Where did he go? Why is he not on the channel? We never had an answer because
someone said I died.
Yeah, I was respectful to what his situation was. You know, he was losing a family member and he needed to be close, but that's not something I'm not going to publicly come out and say, you know? So we're sitting here taking heat about it. And, you know, the truth was you were dealing with all of the stuff that you're going through. Yeah. And when you came back, it was a big moment for me. I was excited to have you back, for one, but it was a shocker because you were a lot bigger. Yeah. And you did
I was already big as hell before I left. You know, so like when I left, like after we had shot that video, did you like go home and like kind of think about like, damn, like he did put on more weight? Or was it like I was just happy to see my boy?
I was happy to see you, you know, because we hadn't
seen
each other for a while. We
That's
talked
awesome, bro.
a lot through the whole process of what you were going through.
So I made a video talking about this because there was people I've known for years and I didn't hear from them, but like maybe one time, one checkup. Yeah. But I had people like Daniel who I've known for maybe at that time a year or two. Yeah. Right. And that's because I worked for you, and he was checking up on me, making sure my family was good, making sure, hey, you need anything, you know, whatever it is. And there's other people that did that, but you know, you're here right now. Right. And we talked about like, those are the people that you want to put in your circle. I'm not even talking about all the time and knowledge you've gave me about business and how to run stuff and how to grow stuff and double down on my brand. I'm talking about like just for that one thing alone. If I, you know, that was cool to have someone that was there in my circle. And he wasn't just checking on me once a week, once a month. It was like every day. We talk like we're two teenage girls and, you know, talking on the phone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it was cool. And I just posted something talking about that. I think it was a podcast it was. But, you know, that was a good thing to do. But like, how was it like when you did notice how much weight I gained in that short period? Because it was like 9 months I gained over 100 pounds. I was scared, bro. You know, because if you think about how all of that went about is, you know, you came back. You were definitely bigger. You know, it was visually. There was a visual difference, and you're talking about a big guy already, and having another visually impacting transformation, and it wasn't positive. It was positive. Positively heavier. He grew. He was big. So, all right. He showed up, and you know, I definitely, like, as a friend, I was excited to see him. We filmed a video together. We filmed some content together. Yeah. I think we posted it, and the comments were definitely also acknowledging that you definitely got bigger. Shortly after, I didn't want to tell you because, you know, I moderated the comments for a while. Just like you did for me. You protect me all the time. People are like, oh, you got fucked up teeth. You got ugly hair, this, that. He'll delete the comments from me, you know? All that. But at that time, I was protecting my boy. People were saying negative things, you know? Really? I didn't. So hold on. This is real. Like, this is new. I've never heard this ever. So tell me everything. I want to know it all. Dude, it's just, you know how people are on the internet. Yeah, people are ruthless on the internet because they can, especially on YouTube, it's not like Instagram or Facebook where there's a picture of your face. It's literally just a username. So people feel like they can say whatever they want. And they do. They definitely do. So at that time, I remember comments would roll in, and I never would want you to see something like that. You know what I mean? I was going to protect you, no matter what. He's like a child to me. You know, I don't want to say like that. No, I know what you mean. This is my boy, you know? So you put time into me. That was one of those things where I started to realize, like, dang, maybe there is something here. I want to kind of go over something real quick as you brought up, you know, I gained more weight. On top of me already being 450, 550, 600, now 600, tapping to over 600, right? What was it in me that you seen that you put so much time into someone that maybe a lot of people feel they shouldn't have got that time? So I've already kind of touched on it, but what it was the early stages where I told you, like, you know, you didn't let anything handicap you, no matter what your size was. I didn't even really acknowledge how big you were once your work ethic came out, because it wasn't compromised by your weight. You know, the things that you were doing, the stuff that I was having you do,
like I said, chase me around SEMA
Yeah.
for 8 hours in 105-degree weather, with thousands of people around. I have employees that work here that are 120 pounds that would not do it. You know what I mean? Like they're not able to physically have the endurance to get through that type of day, especially with the way I am. I'm here, I'm running here. I was just ADD at that time. I was bad.
Everywhere,
And, so that's not the only reason, but that was one of the main things from the beginning is, I saw someone that was willing to do the work no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're still that man today,
Yeah.
obviously, to drop the weight that you did, and then let alone to drop weight. Because one thing is to drop weight the way you did, but to get a physique that you have now, that takes that dedication. It takes that hard work,
Did you ever see, because every single time we talk, you and Francine, you always like see the best in me, right? And I always kind of see like all the work that needs to be done. I feel like you guys are really optimistic with me. Did you ever, like in like real, did you ever see your boy, your best friend, being in the fitness community, having abs, now online coach, personal trainer? Like,
I always believed in you, bro, and you know that. I would always tell you, I'm like, if you want this, you can do it.
What I'm doing now, though,
the way you're doing it is exaggerated. It's times 10 of what I could ever imagine for you, And I always think big for my friends, especially someone like you that had all the potential in the world, because I knew you could do it.
Yeah.
I know that you've had conversations with me where he's like expressing his dreams and the things that he wanted. I'm like, yeah, man, that's easy. You got it. I always knew that you could get it.
You would always like, it's so easy.
I'm not that type of person to do that to somebody who's saying their dreams and being like, I want this, I want that, but I'm gonna go play video games. I'm like, bro, you're not gonna get it. I'd be honest with you, and he always had big dreams. And when you would say these things, I'm like, yeah, you got this. You know what I mean? I knew you would do it.
He would. I mean, even had to eat his own words one time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he told me when I started the weight loss journey, and and he's one of the reasons why I posted on social media. So I have a lot of mask, right? We talked about this before. I put on a lot of mask. I made it seem like everything was good and okay and fine and dandy. I was okay with being overweight. Obviously we talked about the chair situation, how it really scarred me, right? Even to this day, I kind of remember that that gut feeling, how crappy I felt. And all that good stuff. But at the same time, I really wasn't happy. Like I was happy because that's what I knew. But I knew that I knew my weight was a problem. Like I knew there was a lot of things I couldn't do. And I knew that I was missing out on a lot because there's a couple trips that I missed out with you guys as your filmer, but I couldn't go on because I wouldn't go on a plane. And I wasn't going to have you buy 2 plane tickets for me. Right. Even though you probably would have, but I was embarrassed. I didn't want to do all that stuff. Like, that just is one of those, sometimes you just got to play it off like, oh, I can't make it. Right. You got to, I'm busy. Right. Yeah. But I wasn't trying to, go, which, fast forward into when I started my weight loss journey, and I posted it and I started to stay on it and I started to be able to notice like, oh man, I'm on to something. Like people are supporting me. Daniel's like, yeah, man, you just bought a Supra out of nowhere. Yeah. Literally buys a Supra out of nowhere. And so he has a Supra. We go and I document everything. I'm his filmer. I'm his right-hand man. Yeah. And then so we're talking about it a couple weeks later. He's like, bro, he's all, yeah, man, you keep on losing weight. You fit in, you could take it for a week. I was like, bet. And that was like the first small vehicle I ever
it's
fit
a small
in.
car.
Supra is a very,
I'm
very
not a big dude at all. And from the day that I got it, I was like, damn, this is
it's
a
like a
small
go-kart.
Car. It's a cockpit, bro.
Yeah,
like you're in a jet fighter.
Yeah.
Like you're driving like this, you don't
Elbows
have much
already
room
outside.
here. So yeah, and I remember when you had that goal of fitting in the car, I'm like, all right, bro, if you think you're gonna do this, because I barely fit in it. Not saying that I'm a small dude.
You're smaller then.
I was definitely smaller. I put on some weight since, but
I wasn't gonna say anything. But,
hey,
book a Zoom call with me, bro. I got you, man.
Can I get that
discount? I got you discount.
Please,
I got you discount. But yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
And he pulled up and I was like, hey, bro, hold on 1 second. Let me see the keys. And I go sit in it. Yeah. And I look at him. I'm like, I'm taking the Supra. And he looked, and you just said, I just need to ride home.
Yeah.
You didn't even say anything about it. I remember making content in the Supra and like being so stoked. Like I cried a little bit. I'm driving home because like my boy got it. I couldn't ride with you. I couldn't ride with him at all. I was way too big for the car. And I lost already a little bit of weight, but still a Supra is such a small car. And I remember like that was a big thing. And then like another cool thing I got to experience here at Premium is not only the flying thing, but remember the side-by-side. Remember we're doing you guys wrapped the side-by-side here. They're heading out to the desert.
Oh yeah.
And like normally let me paint a picture. I'm a 400, 500, 600 pound filmer. So when we're doing cool cars, we're doing drifting events, we're doing stuff like that, we had to have Anthony or Daniel get in the car. And Daniel's terrified of doing fast stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I couldn't sit in the car and film content of the cars and stuff like that because obviously I had restrictions, right? I had restrictions because of my weight. So now we're filming we're documenting the rapping like a side by side, and he's all, bro, go get in it, go for a ride, like go for a ride and finish up the content. I'm like, no, bro, I can't. And then I kind of looked at him like, oh crap, hold on, I can. So we filmed that thing too. We even I think that the viral video on TikTok. On TikTok. On TikTok, it was a viral video, and that was another cool experience I got to do. And like that's when I started realizing, like, damn, like I was missing out on a lot. We flew together. We went to Missouri for it was supposed to be 2 days, and it ended up being was it 6 or 7 days?
We gotta ask your girl.
Yeah,
girl will know exactly.
There,
She'd be like, it was 7 days, 6 hours and 59 seconds because he was supposed to be back 2 days later.
We were 2 days later. Yeah. So out of Malz, we went to go do the drifting event. You still rode in that one though. That was
a once in a lifetime experience.
Yeah, you had to do it. You had to do that one. I was pretty bummed. I wanted to do it, but then again, he's really terrified of stuff. Yeah. So therefore, watching him inside that car was way funnier.
If I'm not driving the car, I don't want to be driven. You know, that's just my thing. I realized that about myself recently. I think, and this is going off into the business topic, but you'll see it, and I want to mention it because when you're in business, you start to control a lot of your environment. You start to control a lot of the things around you, and then you get used to that, and then you get put in a situation where you're out of control. It's hard, man. It brings my anxiety levels up.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Even the most basic things like having somebody else drive me in their car, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
And you trust me to drive, that's cool.
You're one of the only people and I've always told you that I trust to drive me around.
Yeah, every
I'll
time
fall
we get
asleep
a new car,
with them driving.
Every single time we get to a new car, I get to drive it. Like, it's so fun. And I just absolutely love it. But even going on there with the business aspect of like being in control, well, I'm going to go into that with my whole weight loss thing. I feel like since my weight loss, I've actually had full control of my life.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like I wasn't in control. And I'm not saying I couldn't control my eating. No, it was my fault. I was overweight. Trust me. I knew that. Like, we already talked about that. We touched on that. But I feel now that I took control of my life and I built these good habits and I kind of broke away from these bad eating habits and I worked on myself. Now I feel like I have control of my life and like I control what's going on. There's no restrictions, right? There's a lot of things that I couldn't do before. You know, now fast forward into there's nothing that I can do other than skydiving. It's like 250, but I'm like, what, 10 pounds away from that?
You got
right?
This.
We're there. We're almost there, right? 250, you know, I'll be out 240 on stage or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think like that's something that we really know that we don't have control in until we start taking control.
Right.
It's weird. It's like you don't realize what you're missing out on it until you get what you're missing on. Like, I don't know how to explain it any better than that, right? Yeah. Because me not flying was normal. Right, me not riding the Supra with you was normal because my Jeep was going everywhere. I would still get the rollers of you and all that stuff, but I just couldn't ride with you like as if John, the other filmer who was once here, could do or something like that. But now fast forward into everything we've got to do, you know, pre-COVID, during COVID, and with my weight loss and stuff like that. I think we realized how much we were missing on as your filmer, and then at me as a person.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now we just do outrageous, outlandish stuff. And now your boys, we were all over social media right now.
It's wild.
Is that crazy?
It's wild. I mean, for me, the first thing we talked about last night was a Sports Center.
Yeah.
You know,
I was with you. We were moving.
We were moving, and I remember I saw something.
D&J
I started getting DMs.
Service.
People were like, "Yo, is this your boy? Is this your boy?" And I'm like, "Wait, that is my boy." You know, and there was clips that I filmed too, like in that video. I'm like, bro,
the pull-up video.
The pull-up video. You know, the pull-up video was awesome because
you had so much faith in me, bro. I was like 400 and some pounds. He's like, you got this, bro. I'm like,
he's like,
I couldn't
this
even.
This is in
like,
2020, so you know we're in 2023 here. That's only 3 years, man. And like at that time, you go watch that video. Anybody who probably didn't know, you're like, this man's never gonna do a pull-up. You know, it's just not gonna happen. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, you got this, bro. I probably was holding the phone with 2 hands because I was really looking, you know.
He's like, he's gonna do this.
Yeah.
But that's you just having faith in this. And I think probably because you get to know a side of me that people didn't know before, and that was like my work ethic.
Right.
Like when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it 100% now. It took a lot of years of failing to get there. Yeah. But I was never lazy on my way. Right. I guess when it comes to my work and what I do and stuff like that. It's how is it now? Like, how is it? I came here as your filmer. I came here as a filmer. I came here as a kid with a $400 camera.
Yeah.
From a horrible rap, not of my car, from someone else, Jose. I just reposted that. You see, I tagged both you guys. We were watching old YouTube videos. And how does it feel to see someone that you really put a lot of time and effort to help evolve and see where I'm at today? Like, what is that?
I mean, I love to see people prosper. I love people to see people achieve their goals. But when it's your closest friend doing it, it's amazing. You know, it's a good feeling, especially because we both had so much to do with each other's failures and successes together. You know what I mean? We went through the trenches together. Yeah. We also went through great things together. So to see you have even more opportunity to put in front of you, it's amazing. You know, it gives me the chills. Like I literally have the chills right now because, you know, I did sit there through times with you where people were talking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
In my ear. And then I went through, you know, you losing your grandpa, which affected me a lot, you know, because you were so close to me, you know?
Yeah, we were.
Or you are so close to me. So to see you go through that, so I watched somebody that I care about go through a lot, you know, and then to see you succeed and then have far more success than anybody could ever imagined, you know, I think like I just looked down. I'm like, or your grandpa's looking down. He's like,
yeah,
he's proud, bro.
Don't do that.
He's proud.
Don't make me
you
cry.
know?
No crying
I'm not
today.
trying to make you cry
No,
at all.
I appreciate
but
it.
that's how I feel about it, you know.
Yeah.
So when I get to see all these things pan out for you, it's amazing, bro. Like it's special. It's even more special than, you know, I've heard this before, but we have people that admire celebrities and all, you know, and they'll go to any great extent to promote them, to be a part of their success when these celebrities do nothing for them.
Yeah.
You know, this is my boy, you know, like this is a person that I care about. I've watched him at his lowest to get to where he's at now. It's a good feeling.
Which my lowest was my heaviest.
Yeah, his lowest was his heaviest. You know, but I'm talking even emotionally.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
was emotionally beat for sure.
You know, you were beat down, bro, and
Bad.
to see where you're at now, it's amazing.
Thank
it
you,
really,
man.
really is.
Now I'm your best man in your wedding.
Yeah, and you know, you're my best man. So it's just special, bro.
Yeah,
That's all I could really say. I've never really had anybody ask me that question, but like I said, it gave me the chills to think about it because dude,
well, you played a very big part in that. You know what I mean? To have someone in your circle that believed in you, well, because this is not this is the first, but not the last time, because there's so much stuff that we haven't touched on.
Yeah,
even
we
more
couldn't
into
do
my
it in one
grandpa thing. We couldn't
podcast.
do it in one podcast. But I just wanted to mainly introduce Daniel to everyone because at the same time, this is my best friend. Like this is someone was with me through before the weight loss. You know, when I was a car YouTube channel, he's seen something in me. He's seen something that I really didn't see in myself. You know what I mean? But I just knew that I had to work towards something. I didn't know what I was working towards. Because, you know, if we talk about myself 4 or 5 years ago, I want to have a media company.
do you remember what I told you? You're not a car guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You're not
I
a car
do remember
YouTuber.
that. Yeah, I remember that.
know,
You did.
and
I
he
was
was
so
always
pissed off.
making these excuses
But
at
you know
that
why?
time about why he wasn't doing certain things. But I knew deep down inside it was a self-conscious feeling that you had about your weight.
You're not lying. You know what I mean? You're not.
I'm not.
And he was onto something because he did tell me. Because a lot of people, some people are just following me from heavy to modified, and that's all they know me is heavy to modified.
and to slow it down, he was a car YouTuber.
Yeah.
Prior to meeting me, he was doing YouTube videos, filming as a car, and
Building
that's how
it,
we got
racing it.
connected.
Yeah, that's how we got connected. So my Camaro was my pride and joy, right?
Yeah.
My pride and joy. And would always work on it, you know, and then now the people that know me now, they've heard me talk about this where now fast forward after my grandpa passed away and I started working on myself, I realized that car was just a crutch. The car was literally something to mask my real emotions, mask the real Anthony Lopez. And the real Anthony Lopez didn't want people to notice he was fat, right? The
So you
real
had a
Anthony Lopez,
badass
I had a
car.
badass car, a loud ass car, a cool ass car, a crazy wing, diffuser, all that stuff, whatever it might be. But once my grandpa passed away and I feel like I went through like such a crazy hardship and I found out like who the real Anthony Lopez was, it wasn't a Camaro.
Yeah.
Because I haven't driven that thing.
You didn't care about it.
I don't care
you
about
know?
it. And I'm not going to sell it because I put a lot of time in that car and
When
money.
I say you don't care about it, you didn't care about it, it wasn't what you were willing to put your time and effort
No,
to
not
anymore.
anymore.
You were trying to find yourself because that's how that conversation came up between you and I.
I was so pissed at you. But you know
I
why?
know.
You know why though? And it's so true. And remember this, you only get pissed when people call out the truth. And I'm saying that about myself. So if like I just said that sentence and you felt it, you know it's true.
Right.
You only get pissed when people tell you the truth. Because he told me that, and I was like, how dare you? I've done this in my car, took this first place trophy, but I was giving all these excuses and pulling these Band-Aids off. And when I got to the truth, he was right. Because the Camaro's sitting in my garage in California, not doing nothing. I mean, do I love it? Yes. Am I going to bring it out to a racetrack one day? 100%. You know, now I'm financially stable
Let's
to do it.
rewind that though. The reason what was happening at that time was you weren't posting on social media and you were starting to go on a weight loss journey. And I was like, bro, you got to post something. You got to show people because if you make this evolution in your fitness, you need to have some kind of documentation. I would tell him all the time. And he's like, no, I want to post a video about the car. We need to go to the track. I need a new helmet. I need a new seatbelt. I'm getting smaller. I need a new seat. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember
And I'm
that.
like,
Okay,
you're
you
not
called me out.
and I stopped it. I was like, look, you're not a car YouTuber. Stop this shit. You know, I'm
And I was
sorry.
pissed. I was like,
But
how dare you?
You're dropping weight. You're
How dare
going
you
on
tell
a
the
journey.
truth?
You're going on a weight loss journey, and this is what matters. This is what's going to be impactful to people. This is what's going to be your legacy.
You
know?
weren't lying because I remember I showed you the video that I was going to post and I was like, no, I'm not going to post it. I sent that video for like, 5 days?
Yeah,
on
and
TikTok.
it went viral.
And when I'm talking about before I posted, remember I sent it to
It
you,
went
but I didn't
viral
post it.
after you decided. You sat on it for 5-6 days
And
saying
when
that
I
you weren't
posted-
going to post it. I'm a car
was
YouTuber.
insecure.
I have a Camaro. I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, no, you are Anthony Lopez who owns a Camaro, but you were fat and you're getting
You're
small
working
and you're
yourself.
going on a journey and you need to show the world because I knew you were going to lose the weight. I
Yeah,
had no
was
doubt about
determined,
that.
Man. I was so scared to die, man. I was really, honestly, I was terrified.
I was scared
I
to
was
die.
terrified of dying because
Yeah.
I had the dream of, about my sister and not being for that. And then my grandpa passed away and there was I was depressed. I was in depression. I was suicidal thoughts. Bro, I felt like another thing. I felt like at that point in my life, I didn't control. When you are going through depression and when you're going through suicidal thoughts and you're a happy person, that is stressful because I've always been in control of my life. I've always been in control of my thoughts. And yes, people made fun of me, but F them, right? Because I am who I am, right? I had that mask on.
Yeah.
But I've always can be able to control my happiness. But food wasn't making me happy. My car wasn't making me happy. I wasn't posting on YouTube. I was I could not get happy, bro.
Yeah.
And and just going back into that stepping into that version of myself before I started this journey. Yeah, man, it was just not in a really good place and I couldn't control anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't control my eating. I couldn't control my emotions. I couldn't control my grandpa not being here. I just had no control over it. I had no say nothing. I was just you ever watch a movie Click? Where you just fast forward everything?
Yeah.
Bro, I felt that was my life for the whole year. Because you remember, I lived with my grandparents for a year. I can't remember. We went on one vacation. My grandpa made me go because we already paid for a ticket.
Right.
I don't remember that trip. I do not remember where we went, where we flew to, what we did. I mix up two vacations that I didn't go on at that time. Well, I had no control over anything. I look at photos.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't even look happy. I'm chilling at a resort with taking a photo of my girl.
I can picture the photo.
And I'm just I look, to me, me looking at it, someone might look oh, that person's happy. And I look at that photo, I'm like, I look dead inside.
Well, something that both you and I know, at this point, now you can see it because you've grown from that, was those most painful times were the most impactful.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people fall into those painful times and they never find their way out,
Oh, yeah.
And I think that that's a big thing that we all should really talk about here more than anything is, you went through your lowest and there's certain things that stand out to you that built up to those moments, like the chair.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And then for me, we haven't got into, and we'll get into it one day in another podcast, my own pains that I've went through, but also the guy saying that I'll never make money in the sticker industry, putting stickers on cars. Those things stand out to me, where
and we hold them. We hold them. Anyone listening
we learn
to
to utilize them as opposed to letting them handicap us.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and we should. We should, because some people don't. Some people hold it and they keep themselves back because of what other people have told them.
Right.
Right. Because, we all right now, anyone listening to this podcast, me and Daniel are talking about this, you're thinking about that one thing in junior high and elementary school and high school that someone told you, and you're thinking of that right now.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's
branding.
If you're watching, there's something in your brain that just stands out and it bothers you. And that's what you should be using to get you going to that next level.
Yeah, because they always, what's something I don't like? I hate when people say, don't worry about the negativity. Don't focus on the negativity. Don't let the negativity bother you. I'm like, no, you shouldn't focus and harp over it, but let that drive you.
Embrace the pain. That's
that
something
pain.
that I really focused on last year was look, soak in it for the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Understand it. Find out what it's doing to you and understand this is temporary. Pain is temporary.
This is temporary.
You might go through the worst things of your life. You might feel like you're never going to get out of it. You might not remember any of the moments that, because you're not in the moment. You're not present at all. You're either living in the past or you're living in the future, and you're not in that moment. And because you're not, and you're sitting in all that pain, the biggest lessons are right there. You got to embrace those moments. So that was something I feel like learned.
That's what they mean.
And you were there by my side through that whole process as well.
I mean, when we get into, podcast number 2, everything that we talked about me, this podcast was I wanted to be about him. But I guess we had to go into how we met in order for the next one to really make sense, right? But everything that I've went through, I had to go through in order to be there for you.
100%. He would not have been able to be here for it.
I wouldn't be able to. I didn't believe in depression. Bro, what? You're not overweight and you're depressed? Oh, I can't say the word, but that's how I thought. But now I'm like, oh, wait, what's up, bro? Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Because I know how it is to not be able to control your own thoughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's crazy, but we'll definitely get into that. But going to what people say, when people tell you something, no matter who it is, I don't care if it's your parents, you do not give them that much authority to control your life. Because let me tell you a story. Let me tell you something real quick. I was once working for this man, working my ass off, you get 110%, didn't have the best camera, didn't have the most expensive lens, didn't have that much, not the perfect knowledge on being a good filmer and editor yet.
I know
but
where
I
this
was
is
willing
going.
to learn, right?
Yeah.
Someone sat me down who didn't own the business and told me that I wasn't good enough
Yeah.
and that I don't have what it takes to be a good filmer and that I was holding your business back.
Yeah.
Right. And that I'm not.
He thought he was doing me a favor.
Yeah. He was.
you know?
Yeah. He was letting me know everything about myself. I started crying. I 100%, another grown man telling you that you suck. Pretty much what he did. He told me I suck and I'm useless. That's how I took this conversation. And he said everything but those words, but he said everything but that's what he meant. Told me I wasn't good enough. Told me I wasn't going to be able to be anything. And I'm holding the business back and maybe I should look for another job. You know what I mean? Whatever, X, Y, and Z. Fast forward, I became one of Daniel's best filmers.
Yeah.
Now best friend.
I've
And
had
look what
4
I'm doing
filmers,
now.
You know, so some before you, some after you, and no one's compared. You know,
And it's, you know, and that's not a flex for me. That's just saying that you never give anyone the authority to tell you what the fuck you can and can't do. You know what I mean? Because people are only going to tell you what you can do if they can see themselves doing it. Now, if someone puts their self inside of a hole and thinks that, oh, this hole is only good enough for this hole, that's not you. And you're not the only one that's good enough for the hole because you might have a bigger hole you could dig or, you know, whatever, something you could grow into better or grow to be better.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like we get told this, right? And we see this and we see on social media that these good looking girls, good looking guys, oh man, I can't look like that. All these people are on steroids or, oh, they were just born that way or whatever it is. And we put ourselves into like this hole where like, we're only good enough for this.
yeah, you create
Right?
your own fences.
You create your own fences. You create your own walls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I feel like one thing I do have and always to thank the people that have surrounded me, especially my family, is that they've always gave me that confidence.
Yeah.
Right. And they've always, because all I do is share confidence on my social media. I believe in anyone. If Doug were to tell me you want to be an astronaut, I'm like, you could do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it to kiss his ass and blow smoke. I genuinely think that I know he could do it.
It's a thing that you unlock in your brain.
Yeah.
Once anybody who's watching this, you know it. Anybody who's experienced it, once you understand that you're able to unlock this in your brain and understand that the world is limitless. It is at your fingertips. You can learn, you can do anything you want. Once you made that switch, everything becomes easy. You know, now it just becomes on how
much
consistent,
work.
how much
Yeah.
work, how much consistency, how willing you are,
What are you willing to
are,
sacrifice?
what you're willing to sacrifice. And yeah, they're all hard things to go through, but
The thought is free.
Yeah, exactly.
The thought is
I
free.
look at just look at the building around me. We're sitting inside my shop. It's not the greatest shop, you know. It's not anything special aside from another shop next door. But the way I see it is like there's 10 jack stands over there. There's a jack right here. There's a Lambo. There's lights. There's tables. There's air compressor. There's 10 computers in there. There's 5 TVs. There's telephones.
There's people who
There's
get paid
people
every
who
week
work
by
here.
you.
You know, there's materials. I would have never dreamed that this would all be mine, you know, and I take so much pride and value in everything that's in this building because it's all a result of that one dream, you know, like I'm going to get this, I'm going to do this. I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know that it would lead into this, but I knew I was willing to go through it to find out what was on the other side, you know, and
you did
now,
it.
you know, like I said, down to the trash on the floor, like it's mine, you know? So
It's true.
it is. And that's just one, like I'm saying that because I feel like people are not willing to start the process of just trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives and then making that step to unlock that in their brain and just get going more than anything.
I feel just like they psych themselves up of just starting,
Right.
Of just starting,
Yeah.
of just starting. If you didn't start wrapping cars in your family's garage, then you wouldn't be here today because you would have never started. You would have stayed working at Famous, which is probably would have been still amazing, but it would have been yours. Like you own this. Like you said, everything in here you own, right? You work for it all because of the sacrifices you made at a younger age, right out of high school, right? Because you didn't finish high school. Actually, you didn't finish high school. So for when you should have been finishing high school, you know what I mean? And you grew up troubled, right? You made bad decisions. You weren't the smartest person, you know, but you had what a lot of people don't, and it's the willingness to fucking fail and to try again and to fail and to try again, which I feel like so many people are so scared of failure.
Oh, yeah.
I failed over 1,000 times before I actually got it right when it comes to weight loss.
How many times do you think realistically did you make that goal? You woke up and said, you
I
know
would
what, I'm
say
going to change my
over 1,000
life. I'm
times.
going to lose weight.
No, I've been saying it since junior high.
Okay.
Like I've been wanting to like work on my weight since like when girls come into a picture, right? And I'm speaking as a male.
Yeah.
When girls come into a picture and you go to your first junior high dance or, you know, Valentine's Day comes around or whatever it is, and you you realize that there's no girl that wanted to be with you, bro, that's usually when guys want to start working on their self.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be in high school. Like it was like junior high.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now your boy was smooth. You know what I mean? I had my share of girls, but I knew that me and you were in junior high, or say we're in high school, right? We go out to a club.
Yeah.
For every 10 girl numbers you get, I got one. Because, we have to work a little harder, which is, everyone has their preferences. I'm okay with that. But I've been since junior high knowing like, I wanted a Valentine's Day. Why didn't I get a Valentine's Day?
Right.
I had my friends that were girls and got me my stuff and stuff like that. But like, I wanted like my first kiss or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I've always been
real
trying to work on
sentimental,
myself.
but I like it.
Yeah,
I like
you know
it.
what I mean? Play the sad music. No, but what I'm saying though
I
is
feel
that
you, man.
I've been wanting to work on myself junior high. So I would probably say it every other week. Now I can't give an exact number, and I'm not trying to be here and be like, I tried to lose weight 1,000 times and I got it right. No, hell no, I still struggle. But what I'm saying is that I've been wanting to work on myself. But did I really? Because if I wanted to, then why wouldn't I have tried to learn something, right? Or try to stick with it a little bit longer. There's been times where I lost 100 pounds. There's been times where I lost 200 pounds. There's been times where I lost 50 pounds. There's been times where I gained 200 pounds, whatever it might be. But at the same time, it wasn't until I decided to make that shift and I really wanted to focus and work on myself, right? And I took myself serious. And I started believing in what I was going to say. Not you believed me and Francine and Dove and X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I believed in myself, right? Did I start to really become this Anthony Lopez, this version of myself, the person that's sitting here that is blessed with opportunity to motivate and inspire people all over the world.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And when I took it serious, unfortunately it took, a death in my family and a couple of scary dreams and some suicidal thoughts and depression, but that was my rock bottom. You know what I mean? Like that, I can't take that back. Like people are like, well, why'd you wait to 6 months? I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I waited to 6 months. I don't know why I did, but I did. But guess what? Everything that we just talked about in this podcast, every messed up story, every funny story, every sad story, or every positive story, everything that we talked about made me who I am today.
Yeah.
Right? Anthony Lopez, a.k.a. Heavy 2 Modified now. Not El Jefe Vlogs.
Yeah. Not the car guy.
Not the car guy. Not the Camaro guy. El Jefe 1LE made me Anthony Lopez.
This is the fitness. I'm trying to think of how to categorize.
Don't you dare call me influencer. I was about to punch you right now.
I didn't want to say influencer because I don't want to say that. But like I look at it as inspiration, motivation. You know what I mean? Those are the things that I feel most compelled to say about you.
I appreciate that because
anytime anybody, because I have tons of family friends that know us.
Your family loves me.
They love
your
you.
family.
You know,
They're
and they're
awesome.
always like, how's Hefe doing? Everybody still knows him as Hefe. I'm like, man, he's motivating me. How's he doing for you? I'm inspired. They love you, bro. Like, and that's what you're doing for people. So, it's hard to categorize you, especially using the word influencer. I would never do that.
Thank you.
Because you're way more than that. Influencer to me is someone who's taking corny photos with no substance, with no truth behind it, just trying to sell a product. This man is here selling
You know what I'm selling, man?
Tell me. Because I can't even explain it.
What I'm doing, I'm not selling anything. That's the best thing. What I'm doing is I'm just giving what I was given my life, right?
Yeah.
I was given, inspiration. I was given, the positive words that you could do what you want to do.
Right.
I'm not sitting here and trying to push supplements down your throats and push my online coaching. I just want you to know that if you really want to get it done, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
This is what you can do. Take yourself serious one day at a time, and that's it. Because of so many people I feel are not raised with the love and support that I've had.
Right.
So I want to give people love and support. And sometimes it comes off corny, like I'm maybe a fake person, but I promise you, this is just who I am. Because you people like you and my mom and my dad and grandparents and whatever, they raised me with the support.
Yeah.
And I just want to be that person that supports people because I know how it is to not be supported. I remember the chair story. I remember getting fired from Premium. I remember people making fun of me. I remember not getting, when I went to go give a girl a kiss and they all thought it was funny because she said ew. And I remember that shit.
Yeah.
That shit hurts.
Yeah.
So if I could be the person that shares these stories and to let people know that if you're going through it, it's okay. I made it. Look where I'm at today. Like look at me.
Yeah.
Look where I've been told I'm fat. I remember I told that picture that was going around. I think I showed you the picture. You wouldn't know because you weren't into this kid drama. But I was at a car event and someone took a picture of my shorts riding up my butt. Because, at the one point I got so big, I was using like my joggers. I had to cut them into shorts. Francine would cut them for me. That picture was going around the whole car community. Everyone thought it was so funny. I was like, why would you take a picture of a dude? But you know what? Like, I remember that.
We wouldn't do that.
We wouldn't do that.
We wouldn't do that. There's a bunch of people that are like that. And those are the people that don't even resonate with these type of messages.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you know what I mean? But if I could go ahead and talk about stuff like this, and if I could give someone motivation they maybe not get at home, or inspiration that they don't have at home, or support they don't have at home, then I was blessed with this opportunity.
Yeah.
Right? This is a blessing. You are blessed with opportunity. There's so many wrap shops that look up to you, bro. We go out, bro. People are like coming up to you like you're a superstar. You know what I mean? Now you became your own superstar. You know what I mean? And you got to help me become my own superstar. You know what I mean?
Thank you for saying
cool.
that. It's cool hearing it from you. You know what I mean? Someone that I admire, someone that I respect, someone that I look up to. You know?
Yeah. Oh, you look up to me.
I do, bro.
My man.
Come on, man. I wouldn't put myself around somebody this close if I didn't.
That's very true.
You know what I mean? That's what we do.
That's all I put a lot of time in. That's where I was pissed off that you said you only had 3 kids, not 4. I thought I was in the wheel. That's messed up. But yeah, man.
I ain't going nowhere.
I mean, I appreciate you, bro. You're stuck with me now. But like we could go on for days. You know what I mean? And we had normally we have a whole whiteboard. Francine has pinpoints and stuff we want to talk about. I didn't need any of that today because I know this is the first of the month of the first podcast with you. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, because we have so much more to go into. We have depression. We have suicidal thoughts. There's so much stuff we can't even talk about yet because we have to wait.
Legal action.
Going on.
So many things.
But, and I think this is going to be really, really cool. So your channel and the people that have been following you and probably wondering where you've been.
Yeah. I've been MIA. I've been MIA for a good year, maybe
2 years.
Maybe 2. I keep trying to get my traction back, but priorities have been elsewhere. So anybody who's wondering, my priorities have been, my time, my efforts are put elsewhere right now. And my business has suffered, to be transparent, because I'm not putting in those efforts into the business like I used to, so, the same way that momentum and success works for you, it works against you. And I realize that, and I'm not falling victim to it. I understand, the formula. But truthfully, anybody who's asking, my priorities have been elsewhere. I have 3 children, like I mentioned. That's where my priority, that's where my efforts are going right now. And they will always go there, but it's now getting out of the situation that I'm in and learning to disperse my energy with my new lifestyle, because my life has totally changed over the last year. So getting back to business is something that I will do. This is a part of Daniel. Premium is, this is what I do.
Well, yeah, that's why we're down in Cali. We got some big news. We got
a really big opportunity that I'm working on. Tomorrow we're going together to go see if this is actually what we want to do. Yeah, and I say because you're always a part of everything that I do.
Bro, I'm always you're stuck with me. But and it's the big thing too is I can't wait to dive into is that mental health comes first.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like once again, I'm speaking of being a male.
Yeah.
I feel being as males is very difficult to talk about that, right? So like, you give me a hug. Don't touch me, right? But no, it's like we need to be able to talk about stuff like this. We need to be able to have that one person, if it's just one person, right? To be able to talk with, to communicate with, to conversate with, to share something with, not feel judged, right? Because that's what I needed, right, bro? How many times have I cried in front of you?
Yeah,
I cried on the Steve Harvey show. You guys know that? Yeah, I did. And also Andy Frisella.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like like before, I would never. At over 600 pounds, my insecurities were so big I could never cry in front of anyone.
Right,
bro. Now I'm a crybaby. Right? I watched this story of a video the other day. This army guy coming home to his daughter.
Yeah, those get me.
Oh, those guys got me. I was like, oh damn! That at 6 a.m, I'm already crying. I'm like, bro, how am I even sensitive this early? I mean, I felt like I'm still asleep.
Everything that you're saying is very, very legitimate, and it's very, very much needed right now.
Yeah,
So I almost feel like with us knowing that we want to do more together, we should kind of leave the cliffhanger there.
Yeah, we're going to leave it at that because
depression, suicide exists right here with these 2 men right here.
Yeah,
we've been through it, and I've never really talked about it besides with you. Like I've never
all the
opened
goods
up.
Out of you. No, bro, I'm getting all the goods out of you. I'm exploiting you. I'm exploiting you. But it's
I'm
something
willing
that we need to talk
just
about.
like you, is you're willing to tell your story to help others get through it. I feel the same way. I would never want somebody to go through some of the storms that I have. Feeling alone, because I know now, which I didn't know then, that it was so relatable for so many other people. The things that I was feeling, you feel like your own situation is so unique and no one knows, what you're going through. And we say it, we're like, nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody understands. There's people that are alongside of you that have been through it and can help you get through it, just like you and help me, So that's where I really feel like that's where this next part of the story goes, is when we go into podcast number 2. If people are interested, so we'll see what's up. If people are enjoying this, but we should really talk about that because it's so important, man. Like,
it is
for men to be able to speak with be able to be vulnerable, but also not be judged. So
and which I think is kind of cool. We're sitting here, we're wrapping up the podcast pretty much because we are gonna leave on the cliffhanger, but it's cool because like I get to go the male version side with you, and then we have amazing modified Frankie over here that's talk about the female side because you heard
which
that
I cried
podcast.
listening to her podcast.
Me,
you know what I
bro,
mean?
I was trying to hold those tears in so
Yeah.
bad because like I was thinking, well, because we didn't talk about that. It's like
Right.
we don't plan our podcast other than like maybe like a certain topic to hit on. So when she talked about the whole women working and doing certain things to get a raise, I was like, I'm gonna fight someone. Who point him out? Who
Right,
is it? You know what I
right.
mean? Because that's my girl. Like,
No, and I felt, I think I got a girl, and I'm like, I can't imagine if she's put into those positions
Yeah,
as well. So
exactly.
you start to relate to it, and you're like, man, I hope that she's not going through those type of things or feels that type of pressure,
Well,
so when I
because you
heard it
heard
from
that-
Frankie, I was just like,
you got to ask your girl.
it clicked in my head, man. I was like, whoa, have you ever felt like that before? Like, have you ever been through these things? Because it's a terrible thing when you hear it laid out, because I think, even us as men, we've been in those environments and we've witnessed it happen, and it just sucks.
It sucks. Yeah. So it's cool. I get like the male side with my boy, my best friend. And I also get like the females version of, also my best friend, my girlfriend. I had to call him my best friend because I get in trouble. You know what I mean? And
I'm going to
that's
say
just
this.
it.
You say everybody's your best friend, but I'm good with that. Every podcast, I know who his real best friend is. I will say
I don't
that.
call anyone my best friend on my podcast.
Listen. He
Carla,
said-
who
I hear-
hates me
he
right
said-
now.
He's like, who's my best friend? I'm
Daniel.
like, I know who your best friend is. But this is what I was going to say. You are such a good man that you are capable of being a best friend to multiple people. There's not many people that are like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't take offense to that anymore, because I used to be like, what about me? I thought I was your best friend. But I understand that you have the capacity to be impactful to multiple people at one time, and you could be their best friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
So
I love people.
I think it's special. I think that that's one of the traits about you that not many people get to totally understand. And hopefully over time, as your
They'll
podcast
realize.
develops, they'll see that, because mark my words, he's going to call somebody else his best friend.
Well, there's Carla. Carla hates me, right? Let me just tell you, he was just hyping me up being a good best friend. I actually forgot my own my female best
saying,
friend. I forgot her birthday, so let me probably apologize. She hasn't talked to me in like a week.
Happy birthday, Carla.
Happy birthday, Carla. Yeah, go ahead. Hopefully she sees this and texts me back because she's pissed. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things that, like I do. Daniel's my best friend. Carla's my best friend. Big John's working his way up there. He ain't there yet. You know what I mean? Caesar. See, Caesar from high school.
Yeah.
Like in elementary school, bro, he was pushing me in a wheelchair. Like I've stayed friends with these people that I feel brought value to my life, and I continue to bring value to them because I really cherish these friendships.
Embrace it,
You know what I
man.
mean? Like people say like you're lucky to have one best friend in your lifetime. Well, I'm lucky to have like 7.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that was all from, being with, a situation with my grandpa. And really, these are people that they had the opportunity to be there for me and not be there for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And these are people who are there for me.
Right.
These were the people that were there for me, that cared for me. So it's like, you can't ever top that. No one could ever get that situation back with my grandpa. No one could ever get that. You, Francine, Caesar, everyone who was checking up on me, Mike from MFR,
Right.
people from the car community, and people I've known for a long time didn't even hit me up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you could never get those back. So yes, when I say these people are best friends, it's not because I call everyone best friend. It's because there's something that happened in our life that I'm always going to remember,
Yeah.
right? That version we can never get that back, right? We could never get that moment back. So they will always be my best friend because they were there for me in a time of need, or they brought some type of value to me emotionally, whatever it might be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I do. I have a lot of best friends.
I love that about you, bro. Embrace it.
Love you, bro.
Yep. Love you
Guys
too,
can
man.
say I love you too more. I think Francine and Josh will look at us like crazy when we hang up. We say love each other time.
I said it yesterday. I said, do you think it's weird that I tell Hefe that I love him? She goes, no, I think it's great.
Heck yeah. All right, man. Well, we're going to end with this because we're probably I feel like we went like an hour. Hopefully I know this brought value to someone. If you enjoyed it, feel free to share it. I don't know why I stuttered. I don't know where I began to stutter from. If you enjoy this, feel free to share this. I would love for you to share it. I would love for you to like it. I'd love for you to comment. I'd love for maybe something that stuck out in this conversation. Maybe we said something where you related. I would really appreciate that, because with the help and the support of everyone that's listening and watching, from Premium side and from Heavy to Modify side, and the comments and the love and the shares, we keep doing this, right? Because at the end of the day, I get no type of capital gain from these podcasts, but the biggest gain I get is helping other people and sharing these stories and bring amazing people like Daniel Sanchez on to share his story. And to kind of show people that we're not alone. You're not alone. You feel that you're alone. You feel that you're stuck in like this cave, right? With no light on. But I'm telling you, if you just go ahead and share that with someone that you trust, I guarantee they have something to bring and let you know that you're not by yourself. We got your back, because how many times have we done that?
Yep.
So, in a nutshell, speak up, speak up, let people know what's going on. It may feel weird the first time, right? I felt weird when you
Find
told
the
me you
right
love me,
person.
but find the right person.
Find the right
man.
person.
But at the end of the day, you're never by yourself. You're never alone. Your story is never unique. There's always going to be someone that has a similar or the same story. You 100% got this, no matter how hard or how difficult or how you cannot see the light at the end of this tunnel. No matter what you're going through, you've made it through every bad day.
Yeah.
You've made it because you're here. You woke up this morning, you breathe, you're watching this podcast, you got to laugh, you got to experience some type of part of life. You're here. You've made it through every single bad day of your life.
Yep.
We're in with that one. Welcome to Modify Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Lopez, and today we got Daniel Sanchez. Go to give him your socials.
At
Social
Premium on
security.
Instagram. But I never really focus on my own personal social media. Go to my business at Premium AutoStyling. Check us out. Just look at what we're doing. And we're on YouTube. We're on TikTok at Premium AutoStyling. And if you want to say what up, at DPremium on Instagram.
Everything will be leaked under. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Hopefully, this brought value to you. And we'll see you in the next episode of Modify Your Life podcast with your host, Anthony Lopez.
All this happened for myself and my family. There's no way that this is real, man, it can't be.